everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For all the new subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing, and for all the returning subscribers, welcome to another video by your fave. Okay, I know you guys can see this the first time you guys see me in here on my own. It's actually been a minute since I filmed by myself in this room. It actually feels funny filming and Candace isn't here. It's so weird. But anyway, I think it was long overdue for me to do this particular video, and I know that you guys are hoping for more quarantine content, and I'll definitely try my best to give you guys a lot of videos this coming August. There are a lot of things that I'm trying to do, and there's a lot of videos that I'm trying to get out for you guys, so yeah. But today is going to be a very, I think for me, it was always a difficult topic, but I think a lot of people have had great insight on talking about it. The only reason that I never spoke about it was because I was still in the midst of it when it was happening. So you know, when things are happening, you don't think that, oh, I'm going through this, or whatever the case may be. So as you guys can already see from the headline, I'm definitely going to be talking about toxicity, and I'm going to be talking about toxicity in both relationships, friendships, and just toxicity in general, and how to pick up when someone is being a toxic person towards you. I got a lot of DMs throughout this lockdown. I actually got a lot of DMs from a lot of women who were asking me for advice and basically asking me like, Naledi, I'm going through something like this, how would you deal with it? And a lot of the time it's such long and complicated and detailed situations that I'm not giving them the response that I wish I could give them. So there were a lot of women who have been asking me for relationship advice, and today I'm basically here to talk about toxic relationships, toxic spaces, toxic people, how to pick it up, how to work against it, how to know what your boundaries are, and basically how to never go through something like this again. So like I said, I've been getting DMs from women who have asked for my advice, and the only problem was that they're all giving me their own situation scenarios, so I've had to obviously respond accordingly. But the one message that was very clear throughout all these DMs was that they are all in toxic relationships and they don't know how to get out of it. Look at me telling you guys that you don't know how to get out of it like I wasn't in one for years. So I think there is so much power in vulnerability. There is so much power in being vulnerable. There was a video that I took out in 2018, and I was literally at my breaking point. I was crying, I was hurt, I was heartbroken by a lot of people, friends. My relationship was just a mess. And a lot of people resonated with that video in particular, and a lot of people would come back to me and say, I just watched your emotional vlog and I completely understand what you're going through. But I never really went into detail at any point about the toxic space that I was in for years. So I was in a very toxic space with a toxic person. And I think when you're still young and you're full of life and you're full of zest and you're thinking that this is love, this is what love feels like, love is gonna hurt, we find love in a hopeless place. No bitch, that's just being toxic. Now the first thing that I really want to talk about is being able to tell a toxic person. Now I think a lot of people think when they think toxic, the person needs to be like a Chris Brown, he must be abusive, he must be this. Toxic people are never the people that we expect. And that's the first thing that I want to let all the women know. Toxic people are never the people you expect. And toxic people definitely don't fit the toxic aesthetic. They don't look toxic. I think a lot of people, when they think toxic, they think someone who's broken, comes from a broken home, maybe he's abusive, maybe he's an alcohol addict or anything like that. But from everything that I've experienced, toxic people are actually the most well-put people. Very neat, very clean, very put together, great guy, has all the qualities of someone that you would want. And toxic people are very good at hiding their toxic traits. So a toxic person, I don't know if a lot of women have gone through this, and definitely reply in the comments if you have. How many times have you met a man that was so perfect until he just wasn't? He was perfect, he bought you drinks, he was very nice, he didn't force you to go home with him, he checked out on you every day, he made you feel like the world, only to wake up one day and just be a toxic nigga. Like, that's how toxic people are. Toxic people are normally always well put together, and I'm not talking about in relation to my past or my specific relationship, but I'm talking about in general, toxic people don't come in the shape and form of being broken, having difficult issues of abuse and things like that. Those are a form of toxic people. But then there are just those ones. The ones that I'm talking about are the ones that are borderline narcissistic, and they don't realize that they're narcissists, because to them, they're being themselves. So yes, the first thing you need to understand is that a toxic person definitely isn't the cookie cutter, stereotypical guy that you see. The most toxic guy is the one who's normally perfect, is the one who normally gives you everything, buys you the drink, is really good to you, and then you just wake up one day and it's bam, it's problems on problems on problems. I'm not trying to say that women shouldn't enjoy the honeymoon phase, but be very cognizant of a man who's overly loving and who's overly, you know, because the little things like being possessive and being controlling are things that you don't pick up as, to you, those things are blind spots in the honeymoon phase. But the moment things start becoming a little bit sour, or you guys start getting into a situation where you guys really see each other for who you are, then they become like red flags. But in the honeymoon stage, you're not really being cognizant of what's going on around you. You're just in a love bubble. So anything that he does, it'll be like, oh no, he cares. He cares. Oh my God. But the truth is, no, they don't care. And it's just, it's a daggone mess. Like, it's a mess. So pay attention to the way this person treats you at the beginning. If he treats you really well and he manages to maintain that energy, that's great. But for me, in the relationship I was in, I was treated so well, only to find out that multiple other women were treated just as well as I was. It was never a, oh, okay, Melusi's wife is Noma Kikaba. It was just like, oh, who that? She ain't no thing. I think also the first thing is picking up that toxic people don't come in the way, shape, or form that you expect them to. And two, there will always be red flags at the beginning. You're not going to see them, like I said. It'll feel like a blind spot. It'll feel like you just got blindsided. It'll feel like deja vu. It'll feel like something you thought you saw, but then you're overthinking it. Normally, the red flags are always there. You're not going to see them. You're not going to pay attention to them. You're going to be very forgiving. There's going to be a lot of magnanimity at the beginning, but just be aware that the red flags, especially with narcissistic people, are always there. Try to be very cognizant of the things that they say or do. It's the little things. Like, for me, I think one of the traits that I really confused as love was control. Like, I would think that, oh, because he wants to know my whereabouts, he obviously cares about me, or whatever the case may be. And the truth is, you know, I don't care about you, sis. Run! I was so young when I got into a relationship with a toxic person that I was too young to even realize what was going on. To me, I was just living my best life, being me. I found a nigga who's obsessed with me, but the truth is, it's not obsession. It's a control thing. Another thing that I've noticed about toxic people, toxic or borderline narcissistic people are always going for partners or counterparts that are younger than them, or people that they can generally control. So I don't know if it's a bad habit of mine to attract men who are naturally just controlling and possessive. And if it is, can you do something about it, please? A lot of the time, toxic people want to be around people they can control. I think I'm actually bordering narcissistic. But they want to be around people they can control. They want to be in control of a situation or people or things. When they don't have control is when they really plummet. Like the whole toxic nature is not there. Like, I think for me, over the past, I don't know how long, I think there is nothing more frustrating. But yeah. The one thing that I didn't realize was that the person always wanted to know my whereabouts and always wanted to know where I was. There was a point where I had to drop my location all the time. And I think it was because I was conditioned into believing that if you want to make me happy, this is what you need to do. And obviously me, I'm trying to make the boy happy. Like, what? I'm trying to make the boy happy. So in many instances, you're conditioned into believing that a lot of the things that you're doing are things that you're doing for the betterment of your relationship, but in actual fact, you're not doing it for the betterment of your relationship. You're actually doing it, you're imprisoning yourself to someone. You're doing it for the betterment of their emotions, insecurities, or whatever's going on. And a lot of the time it drains you, guys. Like, it drains you so much. Back on this whole topic of control, another form of control was definitely like monitoring who you're friends with, what you're doing. There are certain friends of like mine that he never liked, and then you begin to see why. Like, there was a friend of mine that he didn't like in particular, and I never knew why. And it was only when things started becoming problematic that the friend made me aware that he never liked me and her being friends, because she once saw him cheating and doing whatever, and he was just like nervous that she was gonna tell me. So as you guys can see, I'm a very like accommodating and very friendly person, but then I began realizing like the toxic space that I was in and how it would affect me and how it would affect my mood. And the older I become, it started affecting my health. I don't even know how it happened, but it just happened. But that's just what it is. So too, the element of control. The element of control in toxic people is very apparent. It's one of the things that you're going to notice. Most toxic people have an element of control. They want to control you. They want to be in control of a situation. They want to know that you belong to them and that your loyalties lie with them and that you'll never do anything to hurt them. And I don't know, hey guys, I don't know how true this is, ladies, and I need you to comment in the comments below. Have you ever felt like toxic people will treat you well as long as you're beneath them, and if at any point you begin to move up or do whatever, it becomes a case of them feeling like they can't control you or monitor you anymore, and it becomes like a big hoo-ha. So yeah, whenever you're in a toxic space with people or you're around toxic people, they normally want to control you, control your friends. I know that there were a lot of friendships that I had to cut off for the sake of a man, and in certain instances, those friendships were toxic in their own right, but a lot of the decision making was influenced by me telling my partner things, and then obviously he putting the input that, oh no, I don't think I should be friends. But then not because we're not good friends, but just it made him more comfortable, or like, I don't think I should be friends because I don't like her because she's a thought. Like, what that got to do with anything? It was that, it was me feeling like I had to cut off a lot of my friends. You know, when your life starts being centered around that person, and then you start doing things, and then your whole life revolves around that person, and when it doesn't, it's a problem. Toxic. Another thing that I've noticed with toxic people is toxic people are very manipulative. Like, even in a situation that doesn't require you to be manipulative, they'll never apologize, they'll always justify. That's what it is. Like, there's no accountability whatsoever. There's a whole lot of manipulation games that are involved, and after some time that thing begins to drain you. And it was one of the things that I noticed in all the messages that the ladies would send me, that, oh my god, he then spun the story around, he then made me feel bad, he did this wrong thing, but then he ended up making me feel like this. So toxic people are very manipulative. And you know, for a really long time, it was very embarrassing to talk about the toxicity that I experienced. I don't know what shielded me from it. I don't know if it was the fear of, oh my god, what is he gonna say? Like, what's going to happen when the whole world finds out that, oh my god, it was all a lie. I was happy, but I was not happy. Something miraculous happened. Like, it just came out on its own. It wasn't even a situation where I had to be the one to say, oh, by the way, guys, this is what's going on. But there was a whole lot of ridicule and humiliation that I endured from being with a toxic person, and I keep thinking about it. And you know, it's things I haven't gotten over, because the toxicity stays with you. When you've been with a toxic person for a really long time, and when there's a whole lot of manipulation and mind games involved, you walk away feeling more broken than you ever were. And I think for me, I was young, just lost my mom, and I knew nothing about anything really. I just came out of varsity. Like, all I had were like stars in my eyes. And by the time I got to this phase of my life, I was just like, oh my god, where do I go to from here? And I get a lot of women saying, oh no, everyone keeps saying I should leave him, but I don't. You know what? It's not easy walking out of toxicity. That's just like asking yourself to walk out of a sinking like mud hole, whatever that thing is. Like that's someone just saying, just come out. Like bitch, nigga, help me. And another thing you need to know about toxic people don't apologize at all. At all. The moment you, I think in all the situations or instances where I've been hurt, nothing. Like you know, there was this really big thing that happened to me 2 years ago, and it ended up on social media. And the sad thing is that all my friends told me about it prior to it being on social media, and I was with someone who lied to me for 1.5 years about it. It was walking outside and feeling so foolish, like and the thing is you see, trauma is no longer trauma is humor. But the thing is, it's like you don't realize the trauma you're in until you step out of it. And I only found out the truth last year, December. And it happened in 2018. When that kind of toxicity trickles into your bloodstream, you begin to feel like, oh, it is my fault that he cheated. It is my fault that my friends are hitting me because it's all me. It was even the same in a friendship of mine that I had. I was friends with someone who was a very strong personality, but the only problem was that she just can't take accountability, like for her friendships coming to an end. And it's just like, and I've been in a situation where I'm someone who loves apologizing. I love apologizing because I hate it when people stay mad at me for too long. I hate it when I'm in a relationship where we sleep angry at each other and stuff like that. So I've made it a point that in my next relationship, I want to be with someone who won't let me go to bed angry, because I used to hold grudges so much in high school that I needed to let that go. Like, I'm getting older. We can't keep harboring pain. And the thing with me is that I'm very emotional, so when I harbor pain, like, it sits and it drains me. It takes away everything from me. And the relationship became so toxic that I just had to accept being hurt without any apology whatsoever. I just had to accept it. Like, I just had to deal with it, and I just had to accept receiving gifts or some sort of compensation for everything that I had been put through. It wasn't just the toxicity. Like, the thing is, I think I was in such a horrible relationship where people would even come to me and on some, oh my god, like, there was a point where things got really, really bad. Like, bad, like bad, like horrible. But look, I mean, it's things I've made peace with, it's things I've learned to let go of, but I think it's things that I definitely, when I read the messages that I get from people who are in the same situation, it still gives me shivers down my spine, because it's kind of like, yes, this thing happened such a long time ago, but it feels like it happened yesterday. And I'm not even gonna sit here and lie and say that I'm not going through elements of toxicity right now. I am, like, I'm still, like, for me, I think one of the biggest things is that as an adult, if you do something wrong, you don't get to decide how you hurt someone. So you need to take it upon yourself that if you do something wrong, you apologize for it. And I can't believe at my biggest age, I'm still struggling to get apologies out of grown as people. A lot of the time, we cape for toxic people because we believe that if we stay around long enough, the toxicity will change. But it doesn't. And I do think some people are capable of change in terms of toxicity. I do think some people are capable of change, but I do also believe that those people are capable of change if they want to change. Now, don't get me wrong. This doesn't insinuate that I'm not the toxic person, but I do believe that there were a lot of toxic traits I picked up from the particular person and I carried through with me. Like, a lot of things, when I get upset, I get really angry. And I can't remember the last time I was ever as upset as I used to be in the years that happened. Like, I think it's more or less just the emotional, there is so much emotional abuse that is associated with toxicity or toxic people, and we overlook it because a lot of the time we're like, oh, but they love each other. But the truth is, toxic people don't come back to you because they love you. They come back to you because they realize that it's easy for them to come back to you. Does that make sense? Am I spitting facts or am I spitting facts? Or being around toxic people, you always feel the need to defend yourself, to prove your innocence, to prove that you're not doing anything wrong, to prove that you're a good person, and you are always put in situations where you feel the need to overextend yourself to showcase your loyalty and whatever. And the truth is, let me tell you something about Queen Begazela, hey? I'm all for Team Begazela, but the women who get married are not the women who deal with the things that we deal with. It's the sad truth though, and I know some of you are going, but it's the truth. The women who get married are the women who are like, I'm not doing this, take it or leave it. And that man feels so powerless that he would rather do anything for her, the woman who doesn't take shit, than for where now and making his laundry and doing everything for him. He's going to wake up and go and marry that very girl that did nothing for him. I don't know, this is a very difficult conversation to have. I know a lot of you are swallowing your spit right now on some Naledi Mallela, but it's the truth, guys. And you normally don't see that you're in a toxic space until you step out of it. But I think one of the worst things that I had ever experienced from being in a toxic relationship was watching everybody around me not believe me, or not stick up for me, or not, you know, I'm very big on sticking up for people. I'm very big on, you know, defending what's right. But I've noticed that toxic people love rallying the masses. They love rallying the masses. Like, I was in a relationship with someone that every time I did something wrong, they would run to everyone that I know. The moment they do something wrong, so here, nobody knows what's going on. And the thing is, I'm very private. I hate it. I hate it when my things become like mkosi. Oh guys, oh my god, let me just hey, all I'm saying is when things went viral for me, things were shaky. Like, I was just like, what's happening? What's cooking on? And yo, you know, I love, but actually the trauma, guys, the trauma that comes from being with toxic people for too long. And the thing is, my nature and the person that I am naturally, I cave very, very quickly. I cave for people that I love. Like, I cave. Like, if we start fighting, yeah, I'll lose my shit. 2 hours later, I'm so clingy, I'm so needy, I need to be loved, I need those I miss you texts, you know, I'm crying, whatever. It's a mess. It's a mess. I think for me, it's just, you have to kind of identify those toxic traits at the very, very beginning, because you don't want to identify them years later like me. So pugile manje, you coming there as a broken woman, you're ruining other guys' lives, people are really in love with you, but you're not giving them the best of yourself, you're not giving them the best that you got, baby. Oh my god, I love that song. I'm just saying that in various instances, you don't realize that you're in a toxic relationship until you leave, and then you have become the toxic person. In order for us to break the cycle, we would need to start taking accountability for the fact that we are actively caping and staying with toxic people. And we are staying with them under the guise or the belief or the hope that these people will change and see you for the person that you truly are. But the truth is, it ain't finna happen, sis. Walk. Unless you're married, then that's a different thing completely. You know, I watched a lot of my friends. There's a lot of women on the timeline who have been engaged and then they're single. And then they're dating in love, then they're single, then they're dating again, then they're single. And I'd look at them and say, you can't be giving yourself out like this. But those are women who have a high sense of self-worth. Like, I am not embarrassed to tell you guys that my self-worth, if this is the trenches, here it is. If this is the trenches, my boy, here's my self-worth right here. People with a high sense of self-worth are people whose boundaries are very much intact. And I see all these ladies on the timeline, and you know what, I applaud them. I didn't realize at first that that is self-worth, that is strength, that is grace. The moment you see how people live for themselves and they don't make other people the center of their lives, you'll realize how peaceful your life will be when things are like that. I think for me, it's a situation of, I've always been a hopeless romantic since high school. I've always believed that with love, there should be a little bit of pain. relationships are not perfect. They never were. You know, they've never been perfect. Being able to identify those toxic traits, so identify the element of control, identify the little things that you should be picking up, the red flags, the control, the anger, the constantly asking where you are, the this, the that. But also, the last one is being able to develop the boundaries of when to say no and when not to stand for that. I'm telling you this because I can actively say that I was someone who didn't have any boundaries. I didn't realize how much I took in until I looked back at all those moments and I realized that, oh my God, I realized I was in a toxic relationship when I asked the person, how could you do all these things to me? What if I had done them all to you? And the person basically looked at me and said, you're a woman, you're not supposed to. And if you did all those things to me, I would have left you. And that's when I realized, well, but anyway, it really is what it is, and I hope that every woman who sent me a DM, I want you guys to know that I've read all your messages, and to the people that I didn't get a chance to reply to, I wanted to make this video to let you guys know that it's okay to be in a toxic relationship. It's okay to be with someone that you feel like, I don't think this person is good for me, but it's the moment you realize you're in a toxic relationship, that's the first step. The next step is either finding a way to make it work together or to find what's best for you guys separate. But don't stay too long in that mindset trying to decide, because what toxic does, it's like a venom. The more you keep waiting for it, is the more it creeps in, and by the time you decide to make a difference or to make a decision, it's too late. You're already embroiled in it. Like it's got you by the balls, literally. So I do hope that all the women and men, if there are men who watch the channel and you guys want to know about toxic relationship and toxic women, because I'm not gonna lie, there are toxic women out there. Out of sheer toxicity, or the bounds of respect is not just limited to women, to men. It's also applies for women. If you are a woman who's watching this video and you realize that there are elements of toxicity to you, then you need to decide if you want to put a guy through all of that, or you actually want to be better. Because I hear stories of guys who are so heartbroken by girls who just didn't care, didn't give a damn, like did whatever they wanted, lived their city girl life, their best whole life. And I am not that person. I wanted to be. I genuinely life jive. I wanted to be that person, and I had the resources to be a city girl, but I think I desperately look for love. Even in the worst of situations, I'll always choose love. So yeah guys, I think that's it. I hope the women who have sent me messages, and I hope everybody who has looked for clarity on toxicity to be able to identify it, I hope this video gave you some sort of comfort or closure, or you know, helped you better understand how toxicity is, or maybe my story, sharing my story with you on being in a toxic relationship. Hopefully you'll take that with you and you'll realize that you're not alone. Everybody goes through this toxic moment or toxic spaces in their life, and it's not that toxic people can't change. Toxic people can change. As long as your love can overcome whatever you guys are going through, toxic people can change. I've seen it personally. I've seen the change, and I do vouch and say that if a woman or a man wants to change for you and be a better person for you, or they want to let go of that element of toxicity, because some people, it's ingrained in them. It's what they've grown up in. It's what they've seen. Some people don't realize they're being toxic, and then some people are just outright dicks. Like, nah, leave that nigga. But then some of them, you realize that it's a childhood trauma. It's a childhood trauma that to them wasn't a trauma, until you sit down and say that that's not okay. And then they realize that, oh damn, it's not. But anyway guys, that is it. That is the end of the video. Thank you so much to everybody who sent me any video suggestions. I want you guys to know that all your video suggestions mean the world to me. I promise that I'll get around to doing all the videos that you want me to do. Thank you so much to all the women who have entrusted me with their stories and have shared a little bit of their lives with me. And I hope that after this video you guys understand that I also want to share a bit of my life with you. And I know that it's not easy sharing your life with a stranger on the internet, but I want you guys to understand that it's okay to be vulnerable. There is so much power in vulnerability, and there is literally nothing to be ashamed of, to say that, you know, this once happened to me but I overcame it. And I hope that this video is a reflection of me telling you that it happened to me, and I I can sit here and talk about it and it doesn't affect me anymore, and you don't have to be scared to come out and say that it's happened to me. Because I think a lot of women, it's the fear of being ridiculed to say that, oh my god, something like this happened to you. But it happens, guys, and it's okay. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Thank you so much for helping me get to 30,000 subscribers. I'm so grateful to be on this journey with you guys. I want you guys to know how much I love you. This month is Women's Month, and we are going to tackle all the things that we as strong women hide. We as strong women, you know, we pretend to not feel, to not go through. This month belongs to us, and we are going to walk in our power, in our vulnerability. We're going to be strong, fierce women. So I hope everybody has a good Women's Month. It is Women's Month, isn't it? Not Women's Day, Women's Month. So I hope everybody has a good Women's Month, and I do hope that all the women that are watching this video, if you ever want to DM me, sis, and you want me to go hunt down a nigga, I'm key. But we obviously dealing with our toxic traits, so don't DM me and ask me to go beat a nigga down. We're trying to do better. Thank you so much to everybody for watching. Please leave your comments down below. Share your story. Let's all interact with one another, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.